Hi and welcome back to the channel. I'm B and today we're going to move to a really nice restorative flow, low to the ground, stretching out a bit of lower back, glutes, hamstrings, quads, anything kind of around this lower area. Now, you might like to have one block. If you don't have blocks, you can grab a nice thick book, would do just fine for where we're going to use it for. Okay, we're going to start this practice down on towards the back. You can start either in Shavasana or maybe with the feet wide, knees together. And then allowing the hands to rest on towards the belly. Taking a deep breath in here. And a long breath out. Deep breath in. Long breath out. And we're taking one more together here. And exhale. Following your natural rhythm. And taking a moment to allow yourself to ground down. And from here, we are going to, well, if you're in Shavasana, you're going to step the feet as wide as the mat, allow the knees to drop together. And then we're dropping both knees over towards the left. And then if this is quite a good stretch for you, you can stay here. If you'd like to bring the left ankle over the right thigh, feel free to do so. And then if you'd like to scoot your pillow or block underneath the left thigh, feel free to do so too. Hands can rest wherever they naturally fall. And finding your breath here. If you feel like this stretch doesn't do a lot for you, it might help to bring the foot slightly more in and get the knee a little bit more angled towards the bottom left corner of the mat. I'm talking about the right knee. And slowly releasing the left foot to the mat if it was on top of the right. Bringing the legs back up to center and then shifting them over towards the other side. Finding your position here, this can be different than the first side, don't worry too much about that. As long as you feel a nice stretch. Taking 3 more deep breaths in here. And slowly release. Bring both legs back to center. Taking a moment to see how it feels in a more neutral position. Then from there, grab your block or your book. We're going to place the block or the book underneath the lower back and on its lowest level if you have a block. Placing it underneath the tailbone, so slightly lower maybe than the lower back. And then from here, we're planting the left foot, taking the right knee in towards your chest. This is your level 1. If this is already enough, you can stay here. If you feel like you could use a little more, you can straighten out the left leg. Then we can take that knee nice and in towards the chest. Inhale. Exhale. And if you feel still like you could use a little more, maybe you straighten out that top leg. If you have like a band or a towel, you can wrap it maybe around the foot, grab a hold of the foot. Maybe you just like to hold somewhere behind the leg. But see if you can do this with as little effort as possible. And taking 3 more deep breaths in here. And slowly release the hold of the leg. Place the foot down. Step the left foot back up. See if you can feel a difference between left and right. And then we're going to take the left knee in towards the chest. You can stay here. And again, the left side can be so completely different from the right. And that's okay. It's your task to listen to your body. And then we're going to extend the leg out. If that feels comfortable. Maybe you want to take your final variation, extending the leg up towards the sky. And again, take your pose with as little effort as possible. And then taking about 3 more deep breaths here. And then slowly release the hold of the foot. Bring the feet back down. Maybe allowing the knees to drop back together. Taking a moment here. Walking the feet in line with the knees. Moving your prop aside. Allowing the lower back to rest for a moment. See how it feels. Now the pressure off the block is removed. Then from there, we're gonna make our way up towards the seat. And we are going to come on towards our knees. Now, this might be quite an uncomfortable pose for many of you, so we're not going to hold this as long as we're going to hold the other poses. We're going to come in a little toe squat, so we're going to curl the toes under. And then we're stretching out kind of the base of the foot. Then from there, you can let the hands rest wherever they naturally fall. Maybe you want to scooch the pinky toe under. Sometimes that one stays behind a little bit. And again, relax yourself as much as you can into the pose. No, this can be a tough one. Stick with it, you're doing great. 3 more deep breaths. Stick with it. And slowly release. Good. Untuck the toes. Maybe want to just find some small circles. And then we're going to come on towards the top of the foot. And then here, leaning back for a moment. Again, not holding it too long. If fully leaning back is too much, you can just stay here. Rest the hands down. If you're okay, maybe again bring the hands towards the lap, maybe even in front of the heart. Whatever feels natural for you. And again, this can be quite an intense one, so feel free to ease out earlier if you need to. And slowly release. Good. We're going to make our way on towards hands and knees. And then from there, we are going to step the right foot in between the hands, finding a nice low lunge. And again, as passive as you can. Just allowing the body to kind of relax over that front leg. I'd like you to search for a version of your low lunge that can give you a nice stretch in the hip flexor. So if that means you kind of go off the perfect alignment, then do feel free to do so. I just want you to really look for a pose that works for your body. And sometimes it helps to bring a little extra cushion underneath the knee just to make it a bit more comfortable. Stick with it, you're doing great. We're about halfway through, so if you want to make any adjustments, feel free to do so. Taking about 3 more deep breaths here. And then slowly making your way back to center. We're going to extend the leg out in front of us. And then you can stay here in your runner stretch. And again, see if you can make it nice and passive. Or maybe if it's available for you, you can come seated on towards the left leg. So either one of these options is perfectly fine. I find I can relax myself down a little bit more in this one, although the stretch is a bit less for me. So play around with that. Maybe you want to take both and see what works best for you, then please do so. And again, allowing yourself just to soften wherever you are. Try to find a nice stretch in the extended leg. It might help to just gently tuck the right hip bone in, just so you can align the hips. You're doing great. Stick with it. Again, we're about halfway through the pose. Nearing the last few breaths in this pose. Taking one more deep breath in. And then on the exhale, planting the palms, carefully making your way back. And coming back on towards hands and knees. It's taking a moment, bringing the knees together, feet together, allowing the head to rest. You can either bring the hands back, or if you'd like to make a pillow of the hands for your head, feel free to do so. Finding your breath here. And making your way back to center, same poses on the other side. So we're going to start by stepping the left foot in between the hands. And then you can again just kind of let the body relax over the left foot. See if you can find this nice stretch in the right hip flexors. We're about halfway through the pose. If you want to make any adjustments, feel free to do so. 3 more deep breaths. And then slowly release. Extending the leg out in front of you. You can come either in your runner's stretch, or if it's available for you, sit all the way back down on towards the right leg, having the left leg extended out in front of you. Play around with whatever variation of the pose feels best, works best for you. And again, about halfway through the pose. If there are any adjustments to be made, feel free to do so now. Taking one more deep breath in here. And slowly making your way back to center. Bringing the knees back in line with each other again. Sinking the hips down for a moment. This time see if you want to bring the feet together, knees nice and wide. And allow yourself to sink down in an extended child's pose. A few breaths here. Good. Then we're going to make our way back up into a seat. And we're going to extend the legs out towards the side. So nice and wide, or as wide as you can comfortably go. And then from there, you can walk the hands forward as much as is comfy for you. And then finding that softening again in the body. So I'm going to scooch back just slightly because I'm afraid I'm not really in frame anymore otherwise. So allowing the body just to kind of lean forward. Can stay on the hands. Can come down towards the forearms. For some of you it might even be available to come all the way down. Now again, as little effort as possible. We want to feel the stretch towards the backs of the legs and a little bit towards the inside of the thighs. No need to keep the back perfectly straight right here. The target area is the legs, so don't worry too much about what's going on into the upper body. Just want you to search for that nice stretch in the legs, and then whatever else you do, do it. About halfway through the pose. If any adjustments need to be made, feel free to do so now. Good. Taking 3 more deep breaths in. And then on your next exhale, making your way back up. Good. From there, we're going to bring the legs back together. Block behind me. And maybe windshield wiper the legs just a little side to side. And then from there, we are going to come into a seated pigeon variation. So what we're going to do is we're going to cross the right ankle on top of the left thigh, and then keeping the toes up towards the sky so that the ankle is nice, the foot is nice and active, ankle is nice and active. And then we're going to be here in our seated pigeon, rolling the shoulders away from the ears. Now, if you want to make this stretch a bit more intense, it's pretty simple to walk the foot closer towards the glutes, or the glutes closer towards the feet. And if you want to ease out, it's the same. You just scooch the butt back slightly, and then you can ease out. Again, as little effort as possible. So, kind of just letting yourself hang here. Make sure the shoulders don't creep up too much towards the ears. You don't want to create any unnecessary stress in the shoulders. So gentle rolling away. Maybe it helps to walk the hands back ever so slightly. And then here, taking seated pigeon variation. And we're not going to stay here for too long. We're about halfway through. If you want to take any adjustments, then feel free to do so. If this pose is uncomfortable for you, you can always move into pigeon on the back, so a supine pigeon. Taking about 5 more deep breaths in here. And slowly release. And then we're going to move into the same pose on towards the other side. So this time left ankle on top of the right thigh again, foot pointing nice and up, nice and active in the ankle. And then the same thing applies here if you want to have a little bit of a deeper stretch. Walk the foot closer in towards the glutes. If you want to ease out a little, then you can walk the foot a little bit more forward. I'm going to take this specific one a little wider because my knee is a bit funny lately. So if any adjustments need to be taken, please feel free to do so. Supine pigeon is always your option. And about halfway through the pose. If you feel like you want to make any adjustments, take your time to do so now. And about 5 more breaths here. And then slowly release. And now we're going to make our way on towards the back. Taking the knees in towards the chest for a moment, giving yourself a big hug. And then from here, you can allow one leg to extend, followed by the other. If you want to cozy up with the blanket or put on some nice warm socks, feel free to do so. We are going to be moving into our final relaxation pose, Shavasana. And here you can allow your body to relax down. Noticing how your legs feel. Compared to when you started the class. Now I'm gonna be leaving you here. You can pause the video, stay here as long as you'd like. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. Namaste.